there are a variety of paradoxes built into our celebration of Pesach. This coming Shabbat is Shabbat Hagadol, which is the Shabbat immediately preceding Pesach. So we are getting ready. One of the paradoxes in the Seder itself has to do with the matzah. The matzah, which we sing about, halach ma'anya. This is the bread of affliction, the bread of poverty, the bread that we ate when we were slaves back in Egypt. But that very same matzah that we sing over at the beginning, we say brachot over right before the meal. And we recline. We recline because it's transformed, in a sense, from that bread of poverty, bread of affliction, to the bread of freedom. We're celebrating and eating that matzah, which is why we recline. We are free people and we can recline. It's paradoxical that this one symbol could be both the bread of affliction and the bread of freedom. But the truth is, it makes a lot of sense based on what we're doing on Pesach. We are reliving our time of enslavement. We do that in all sorts of ways. Maror, charoset, this bread of affliction, salt water, the tears. But we also have these symbols of freedom and of redemption, the 4 cups of wine, as an example, and are reclining while we drink that wine and while we eat our matzah. This also makes a lot of sense because, in truth, Passover is meant to have us relive our time as slaves and remind us that we are no longer slaves, but we are free. And yet, the world lives in an unredeemed state. There are still people enslaved, literally, and we can say figuratively. We are still in a world where people are eating this lach ma'anya, this bread of poverty, bread of affliction, in all sorts of different ways. And our celebration of Pesach is meant to remind us of those people and of the fact that even though we have been redeemed and we are free of Egyptian slavery, we still live in a world that needs to be further redeemed. With our help, with God's help, that is what we're supposed to be doing with our lives individually and as a people. So there's a lot for us to do. We are not simply remembering what happened in the past. We are pulling that past into our present so that we can help transform the world around us, that we can take the paradigm of the Exodus and of that redemption from Egyptian slavery, and we can do our part in fixing the world, getting us further down the road to a redeemed world. I mention all of this so that you can consider talking about the gap between redemption and the current state of the world at your Seder. There are a whole variety of ways you might do that. You're welcome to contact me this week if you want a couple of ideas, but keep in mind that that's the gap that we are looking at our Seder, the gap between this matzah as a bread of affliction and one as a bread of freedom. That is the gap we need to fill in our conversation with the people who surround us at our Seder table. That is what we're supposed to come out of the holiday with a renewed sense that we have a role as a people and as individuals to help make that world into a redeemed one. Shabbat Shalom.